Start recording. Okay. Well, good evening, Chris. Holy shit.
Good morning, Adele. I
Yeah.
am connecting to you from what's obviously a hotel room with a slanted roof,
So wait.
just on my way down.
I've been looking at that for a bit now. Is that a skylight behind you?
Yeah. Well, it's a window. It's a
Oh,
window cut into a sloped ceiling, which is pretty common, I think, for at least in Germany. Like the top floor of most apartments, sometimes have this setup, which is kind of cool.
and sorry, where are you right now?
I am in a city called Nursingen, which is in Bavaria, southern Germany. Pretty much the halfway point of my 11-hour road trip from
Wait.
Dusseldorf
Sorry.
to
Okay, wait. You're in
Italy.
Nursingham? Say it again.
Nursingen.
Nursing,
Nursingen.
nursing. Oh God, Jesus Christ. German. Okay, yeah. So I know you're on a trip of some sort. Um, how far are you away from home?
5, 6 hours.
Okay, so you're 5, 6 hours south of. I always forget where the fuck you live. Um, I don't. It's gonna come to me. I don't remember. Let's see here. It's not the two major cities. Oh God, I don't know. I keep forgetting. I have no idea where you are. Fuck. And so you came from Italy in the Alps. You sent me a picture. You sent me where you were somewhere, dude. You were in Italy skiing. What the fuck are you? I don't even know what you're doing.
Uh, Basically got invited to my coworkers' like annual trip. Like they've been going for 12 years. Got kind of accepted into their friend group. It's like an older group. Their kids are all like college age. They're all in their 60s or 70s. This goes to show my breadth, though, I gotta say, because like I can entertain them, and they're like, "Yo, come back to the next one." So I actually rebooked for next year already. I've never booked anything a year in advance, but did that. We'll
Ooh,
be there, I think, for the Italian Olympics. The Olympics are taking place right by there, so it's actually gonna be a pretty sweet fucking location next
ooh,
year.
Winter Olympics. Ooh, I didn't know it was in
Yeah,
Italy.
yeah, me neither.
Wow,
But
you're in a part of the world I've never been. So all I know is there's pointy mountains. Like I know you're not even close to Rome where I visited my sister, right? So uh, you're in the like northeast of Italy, I think, right? Or you were.
North Central. I was only honestly only 2 hours driving to Venice, man.
Oh, so it's only
So
2 hours driving to
like,
Venice. Okay, cool, nice. Okay, so wait, I mean,
yeah,
you're an avid snowboarder, and I know the snows are different. You said it was sort of like Japan in the sense that it was I don't know, like a Japanese trip. But was the snow different? Was it awesome? Was it good powder? Was it steep? How does it compare to Canada?
yeah. So I mean, have you heard of the Dolomites? It's like a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but special part of the Alps. Really super fucking. I'm still in a great fucking mood from that. But so we're in the Dolomites. They're pointier than the Rockies. Like just I think the rock type and the rock formations, they're just jagged, right? So in a lot of ways, like I don't know. You like what you don't have, right? So to me, I don't find the Rockies that interesting. Like, oh my
Oh,
God, these are so pointy.
oh God! I
And you're
mean,
just skiing at the base of them.
you've seen the
It's like,
Calgary Banff Mountains too many times. The Rockies are just like whatever. I see that so many times. Who cares?
okay, so if you think about like Tunnel Mountain, it's just like this big piece that sticks out and it's fat and it's wide. These are like pointy. It's like the shit rock climbers love, right? Because like I'm gonna climb that spike with no ropes, haha. And then like some of them die.
We don't have county rock spears in Canada. I've never seen one.
Yeah,
It's not that kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
rock climbing. Okay, I get it. Thank you for describing that to
absolutely.
me.
I was
Um,
just obsessed with the pointy tops, and you're just
got it,
skiing at the
got it.
bottom because they're like vertical cliff faces, so you can't really get to the summit, but like you get pretty damn high, and then it's just the rock spears, right? The carbonate, the dolomites, which is a type of carbonate,
Got it.
calcium carbonate, dolomite. And then there's also old volcanics. So you get like the vertical cracking of the lava when it cools. So that looks cool too, because everything is broken up vertically. When the rock shrinks, you get the fractures. And so you get super thick volcanic sections. You have the Dolomites. You've got all the fucking wine that grows in both those terroirs. And so it's like wine country, 2 hours from steep powder. Why I thought it was like our Japan trip was because of just it's remote Italy, mom and pop, third generation lodging. Bro, I just settled up the bill this morning and I posted this on my Instagram. 5 nights, 10 meals. So what we had in Japan, right? Breakfast and dinner. But this is gourmet Italian, bro. It's not nasty fucking seaweed fish. Like I'm eating tiramisu that looks like amazing and like custom made desserts. It was I'm just looking at the bill right now. 470 euros for 5 nights, 10 meals. That and I just did the math for this. That includes 180 euros of extra boozing I did every night, like buying shots and rounds for everybody, and like, I mean, the room was 60 euros a night, dude, including the
What?
meals. 60 euros a night for the meals in the room.
That's real good. Nice.
It's insane. They could charge double the price, and I would just pay that so gladly. It's third generation Italian. Get this. This thing was built in this lodge was built in 1923 when Mussolini, the Italian dictator, was trying to encourage Italians to settle in the Northern Alps so that they can have a presence there and grow the Italian empire. So that's what their grandfather did. And it's just been passed down in the family. It's a tradition of cooking and being like giving hospitality. Man, it was like the hidden gem that we went to in Japan just for Italy. I had fucking amazing carbonara there, and just like, dude, it was crazy. So my heart is very full, and then just being like absorbed by this group as and they're asking me to come back and all that. That's pretty awesome too.
Dude. So this is your second time in Italy, right?
Well, yeah, I went to Rome for a weekend, but it's hard to say like,
Oh yeah,
oh, I've
you were
been to
barely there. I
Italy.
was trying to get you my driver, right? Okay, wait. How is your Italian now? You got your any
Terrible.
better? Terrible.
I,
Buona
my entire
giornata.
brain, my entire brain is German, dude. Like we're so close to Austria. The guys actually spoke German, Italian, and English. So I mean, it's a perfect destination for my German friends. You know?
Very cool. I still remember my
Yeah.
two words I learned. I mean, I was there for a month in Rome, so I think I remember grazie, and I think I still remember buona giornata for some reason, which I think means more than good morning. Like it's like how are you or something. But I have no
Mm.
idea, man. I don't know. Italy's
I,
cool. I miss it. It was cool.
yeah, and they're speaking like German through most of it. So like I'm picking up just by pure immersion. Um, there's an American couple there who've lived in Germany for like 20 years. They're part of the army, and the wife. I guess I'm gonna say her name. No one's gonna know. Her name is Debbie, and she, she secretly just understands fluent German. Never speaks it, but like you can tell she hears the entire conversation, right? And she knows exactly what they're talking about. And then she'll just like reply in English, and then sometimes like the Germans will just speak to us directly in English. It's like a really unique also balance of like how communication's happening. So that's really cool as well. And then her husband, they're great. He's like the guy you want on a trip. Like he's just constantly taking pictures. So there's just like always fucking action shots of you, right? And then he just
So cool.
fucking fires over like 300 pictures and like airdrops them to your phone. And also just like super, they're both super nice. And this morning, we had a fucking crazy powder day last night, and it shoveled and scraped my whole car today. Like, because they're morning people, they're like, "Yeah, we just cleaned your car off for you," and I'm just like, "I'm not worthy. I don't deserve this."
Wow.
But the whole
Sound,
group is like that. Yeah,
sounds like you're having a blast, buddy. Okay, so wait now, and you didn't mention, but the snow was okay. So okay,
yeah,
I remember. I remember the snow in Japan, and it was way different than the snow in Alberta here. It was I don't know how to describe it. It was like airy or something. It just disappeared. I don't know what.
yeah.
Yeah.
The way I describe Japanese snow is it's like graphite. It was like really fine, really dry, like your standard champagne powder, where the particles kind of just float over you when you carve through it.
Hmm.
Whereas Alberta powder is fluffy, big, chunky flakes that stick together, and that powder feels good too. It's super light powder, but the Japanese powder, it like lubricates your snowboarder skis with the hill, right? The same way graphite does. So everything just feels like buttery smooth. I would say the powder yesterday was fine and dry, but that's not to say I think the Alps, having only skied 3 days, like it's right in between the two, depending on the weather. It's a little bit lower elevation than the Rockies, so the first couple days where it was bluebird, like it was getting real sticky at the low elevations, which we're used to that as well. So you wanted to stay high up. Um, the grade definitely like Rockies has it beat. Like they're blacks here, they're like I can ride those all day. Like I can point those straight down. And I actually needed to on the POW day yesterday because
Wait, wait.
even on like blues, they were
Sorry,
too shallow.
are people boarding there?
Very few, maybe 10%.
Yeah, I assume it's not. This is an American thing, right? Like nobody boards in Europe, do they? I don't even know.
Man, I got like a 3 minute rant on the whole culture here also because uh, yeah, I didn't tell you this. I've been saving it for this pod actually.
Who did you piss off? What did you do?
No, nothing,
Wait, wait, wait.
nothing.
No, it's not bad. Okay, wait. What? You got a three
I'm not
minute
mad.
rant?
It's not a rant, but like I just have a 3 minute thought on like
Okay, tell me. Tell me. Tell me.
because I was like, am I crazy? And it's funny, right? You come here and there's just culture shock. First of all, also the color schemes. So blacks are blacks. We have red here, and reds are blues, and blues here are greens. So it goes, you know how we go like green, blue, black, double black?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They go they go blue, red, black.
Okay,
So
blue, red,
like
black.
red
Okay,
is the
sure, sure,
middle.
whatever. Sure.
I would say nothing qualifies as a double black that I saw here.
Blue, red, black makes
Um,
more sense. Hold on a second. That is way more logical to be blue, red, black.
because
Blue
blue's
is a
friendly, right?
blue is a green light, friendly. Red is caution, and black is death, right? Very logical. Okay, yeah, keep going.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I only went for 4 nights because 11-hour drive. So I actually broke the drive up into 2 days. That's why I'm in this hotel. So I stayed in this hotel on the way down as well, just so I don't drive 11 hours. And then I also heard from these guys that actually it's illegal to drive 11 hours. So if you get pulled over, you're supposed to like lie and like say like, "Oh no, I was just on the road since noon or whatever" to make your times work.
Hmm.
So I didn't realize it's like strictly forbidden though, because I don't think Canada has that, right? Like you can drive as long as you want unless you're like
Not
a
if you're a
trucker.
commercial driver. Yeah, exactly. Sure, sure. Not as personal. You're
Yeah.
right. Nobody cares. Yep.
Yeah. So accidentally followed the law, I guess, just being safe. But
Oh,
I always
okay.
have a saying too. Like I wear a seatbelt, but you don't need a law for that. So but the Germans. If there's not a law for it, it's probably illegal unless otherwise specified. Um,
Yeah, totally. Germans are a lot more of a rule
we
culture.
didn't say you can do it, so just assume that you can't. So that's why they call it the nanny state, right? There's like just no personal freedoms.
Hey,
Um,
give me a sec here. Lyric wants to say hi to the podcast. I don't know if you see Lyric
oh, I
there.
don't think we've seen him yet. Oh yeah,
She's really excited and wants to do something. So I'm gonna let her go outside, I think. Yeah. Okay. I'll be right back. I'm still
sounds
here though.
good.
We'll cut this out of the pod. Um,
I'm just gonna sip on my Burger King drink, which is also like a little bit surreal because I'm eating like gourmet Italian dinners, 4 course meals. So you get an appetizer, first course, second course, and then the daughter, like so the third generation uh, of that family, the daughter, she just makes desserts. So like we were just crushing. Her name is Kiara, and so every night they said, "Okay, we have tiramisu, we have sorbet, we have blah blah blah, and then we also have like Kiara's creation of the night." And every night, that was almost always like the best choice. Every night, it was just whatever she decided to make, and it was just like fucking sick. But
I
I
love it. I love it when there's a leader cook in a ski trip. So we have a buddy who we always revolve the ski trip schedule around just because we want gourmet, high class, awesome meals. And yeah, totally. That's the way to do it almost. Kira,
we
so
have a buddy like that.
Kira, what did she cook?
She only
What
does
was,
desserts,
oh, only does desserts. Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
and she's part of the family that runs the thing. So she wasn't like my personal friend.
Oh, I see. I see.
She
Got it.
she was like dessert person, and then they had a guy who in the family that did cheese. His name was Walter,
Oh.
and
Now
he
wait,
just did cheese from the local cows.
this is such a European thing that we're bad at, where they're like fourth generation cheese people or they're fourth generation winers or whatever. We don't have that. People were they explored across the world and came to Canada or America, and they're just well versed on many things, right? Not one specific craft.
I
So,
finally understood though two things. Number one, when people say like spend your money in Europe, fuck, I understood what that meant like this
what
weekend, right? Like
what does that mean?
there's a saying like you should earn your money in North America but spend it in Europe. Like your money goes
Oh,
further. You're just getting better product, generally speaking.
oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then like this makes going to Rome like pointless. Like this is just way more quintessentially Italian. I mean, I can't even say that. I haven't seen any other part of Italy, but like we got like the Italian experience for sure. That I do know. That might not be like, you might go to the coast and get the same thing, but this was also very much just wicked, like a hidden gem.
Oh yeah, hidden gems wherever they are awesome. And sometimes you find them. You find them in Rome too. Actually, you just gotta search
Yeah,
harder.
but then like because we got like my colleagues, they've been going for like over a decade, and some of their friends longer. This is like the bonus of having
So
like
okay, this is a
old
refined.
friends.
Okay, wait. Hold on a second. This is like a side here. That's the trip I went on. We were supposed to talk about this pod. Uh, my Burning Man trip was like that. So it's about people going on the same trip every year and building this infrastructure of
Yeah.
consistency and awesomeness. And joining those trips are outrageously phenomenal because they have done it so many years in a row that they've refined it to a level, and also everybody just has figured it out. They know how to go.
It's so nice to just be the first guy on that, and they're like, "Yep, you do this, you do X, Y, Z," and the family knows them. I mean, some of these people, like the oldest person in this party, and it was like I think 16 of us. It was a big number. Guy's like 80, right? So it's like they remembered Kiara when she was a baby, and now she's like making the desserts, and like you get to
Oh,
just kind of like take advantage of the social capital they built up for like a decade.
oh, that's funny.
I mean, take advantage is a strong word. Like they were
Yeah,
very
of
openly
course, of course.
sharing it, but like, yeah. So just a rapport, and like right before dinner, it was like, oh, we just this is our custom salted cured ham, and they just gave it to the whoever was sitting in the lobby bar, right? Because like your friends basically. But oh man, it was pretty sweet. So I between that and the POW day I had yesterday, I rebooked for next year. I've never booked anything a year out, and I think like even if like I wasn't in Europe, I'm fucking flying the fuck back here to do this trip, right? So
That it's a
yeah,
little. I mean, it sounds like a rash decision in some ways to book immediately after finishing, but that's how you build tradition. I get it. I get it. Um,
it's like a 300 euro call option also.
so, oh, that's nothing. You could always whatever. It doesn't matter in the end. I mean, this is something weird for Burning Man, which my good buddy who got me to go to Burning Man told me happens every year. Is that trip is so much work to prep for and to go to and to leave from that typically the month after, even though you're like in the afterglow, you're like, I'm not going to Burning Man next year, right? Like that's just what you say for the next like 5 months after Burning Man. You're like, fuck no, I'm not going to Burning Man next year. But then the 3 months before Burning Man or 5 months before Burning Man shows up, apparently you get this feeling, but I'm getting it now almost, just the tiniest bit of just like, I kind of want to go again, you know? And and it's weird. And he was saying he gets this every year, and he's gone 7 years in a row or something like that. And I just think it's funny. But
Yeah, man.
you get the
I'm
decision to go.
putting my hat for Tomorrowland because I went in 2023
Ooh,
and then in 2020, and it's also like a ton of work to go, right? Like, and then it's hard on your body. You're up all night. You got to camp, and it's like meandering through like 100,000 people. Like, it's work even when it's not work, right? You can make it as smooth as possible, and it's just fucking work.
yep,
Um,
yep.
so we skipped the year 2024, and it was like, no, fuck, we're not going. But then like a bunch of my friends just bought for 2025. Like I think I know like a dozen people going. So like I think I could be talked into going just like now that there's like crucial momentum. You always get the hardcores, right? They're like, no,
Yeah,
we go
yeah, yeah.
every year. So there's always like a core 4 or 6 or whatever the number is. And
Yep,
then it starts like literally snowballing. So
yep, yep. No, that's just how it is. Hardcores who lead the charge, and casuals who kind of make it, and some people who are casuals but know how to be great even there. Like that sounds like you. Sounds like you had your ski trip, right? I mean, you showed up, but you were awesome too, right?
I also can deliver, right? I'm not like, oh, that person can't bring their friend in again anymore because that person sucked, right? It's like I like to think like I add to the party, and like any room that I'm in is like funner, which like maybe in my younger years that wasn't true, but it's for sure true now. I think.
I find as I'm getting older, man, I'm getting more comfortable in just social settings, and I just feel more comfortable. Yeah, I just feel more
Yeah, I
comfortable
don't
these
know what
days.
it is, man. I think I'm like a chameleon. Like do enough cool shit, you know enough about everything, you can always have like a conversation with anybody. And I don't know, for me, like when I talk to people, I have like a genuine curiosity. Like they could be doing like maybe something that's not naturally interesting, but there's always something interesting to like dig out of it, right? And so I think if you show that interest to people, they really can sense that you actually care about what they have to say or what they
Totally.
do.
I think I'm getting better at it. I mean, I think I used to have more anxiety when I was younger. I mean, I got onto my shell yesterday. Even I've been really active recently and really into squash. Um, I went to watch the Canadian Open squash tournament in Calgary down at Bull Valley Square yesterday, and it was awesome. It was so cool. I mean, I know you don't play squash and you've not played squash, but this was, let me set the stage for you. It's Bull Valley Square, little like mall kind of setup, and there's a glass court in the center of it between the escalators on both sides, and you can watch all around the glass box or on four sides, or you could be on the second floor from above on the mezzanine watching overhead. And you can
That's pretty
either
sick.
you can pay for seats. I think they're $80. I was kind of last minute, and you can either sit in the bleachers down right beside the court, or on the above right beside the court, or like we did, public on the mezzanine for free and just watch the squash games, right? But what was more amusing was, um, so I showed up, and some of the like the hardcore for my squash club were there, and they were like posted up in this really awkward spot, and I was like, I don't want to be there. So I found a perfect other visualization, another spot around the mezzanine. I had my camera out. I got a little like manual mode kind of fancy camera these days. I had that. I brought like non-alcoholic beers, so I was like ready to go watch 4 hours of squash. And then I was just chatting up this girl beside me who was randomly standing there. And the weirdest thing, she had been hanging out with the top seed player all week because they've been on Tinder. And it was just amusing to hear her story about him, and also just talking and bantering the whole time. And my couple other buddies from Scotch were there too. It was awesome. It was
Did
fucking
she
awesome.
did she know anything about squash, or she was just like met this guy and like and he's like, no, I'm like kind of a big deal in squash, so I'm the man.
Okay, so I gotta give her mad props because she's a 4.0 tennis player. So she's a racket player at least, right? Like I'm not a 4.0 tennis player, right? You know that. And she used to do competitive swimming, so I think she was sporty enough to be talking to a pro squash player. But it's kind of hilarious to, you know, talk to somebody on, meet somebody who's visiting your city from Egypt. I don't know, give all these information away, but whatever. Um, I think it's just comical, and it was just funny. Okay, the funniest question I asked was after like an hour of talking to her, was like, wait, does he drink? Because he's a Egyptian squash pro, and she was like, yeah, and she felt guilty about drinking with him before the game the next day, because like you're a competitive pro athlete, you're not supposed to be drinking before the match. But again, this guy came and whooped and won his quarterfinal match yesterday, and it was
Oh, I'm
awesome.
just happy someone that plays like a squash is pretty. It's not nothing, but like, hey, good on a squash player who can pull. And I'm sure he probably had a bit of like the exotic card as well too, right? So
I think she looked him up, but I mean,
you
I
have
think,
to. I don't know who the fuck that
oh
is.
god, I mean, you know what? Squash does not make enough money. I think even at the pro levels compared to tennis, right? Not even close. But I mean, he's a top 20 seed, right? So I
I
mean,
couldn't name one squash player, dude.
you can't name one squash player. I can
Yeah.
name two squash players, so don't worry about it. I don't enjoy. I watch way more tennis with you, buddy. Pro, because I don't really love watching sports as much as I do playing sports. I'd rather play.
I like to watch what I play, and then I realize how bad I am at it. Yeah, you know, like so the only thing I watch is tennis, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, shit. Like, or the worst is like when you watch yourself on tape and you're like, fuck, that looks so slow. And like in the moment it feels fast, and then you watch film of yourself and you're like, wow, that is totally uninteresting even to me.
Yup,
So
yup. Hey, actually, I saw a buddy of ours from engineering there, who was watching as well. You remember Marvin? He's a squash player too. He plays three spot, which I was surprised by.
what's
Sorry, he
freeze?
plays in Div 3 in my
Oh,
interclub, and I'm a Div 7 player, by the way. I mean, so
gotcha. How many divs are there?
there's
Seven?
8 divs. There used to be 7. Now there's 8, and we're moving up to 6 next year. Okay, Chris? Okay, you know.
Nice.
But I was thinking about it. I'm like, props to Marvin, for getting to 3. I don't think I could ever get to 3. I was talking to my buddy there yesterday. I was like, can we get like I was just thinking about I was talking to my friend over there. Can we even get to 3? And we were talking about like no, like maybe we can get to 3 if we really work at it, but it is hard. Oh man.
There's a BoJack Horseman line, and Will Arnett's just like, I physically cannot.
Oh, okay. So to carry on the squash stories, I played a squash tournament on the weekend. So I'm no slump man. I play a lot of squash, even though I'm a Div 7 player. I played a squash tournament at Mount Royal, and I'm in Div 3 out of 5 for the tournament. So there's 5 men divisions, and there's 3 female divisions. Okay, but the females who don't want to play higher competition can play with the men. So we got a 16-year-old girl junior playing in my division, and she took it. She took gold. She took the tourney and beat this like top seed, my buddy from my club who kicks all our asses. And it was comical. It was amazing to see a 16-year-old girl whoop us all. It was great actually. I've never seen it before. Juniors show up every now and again, but not. I'm still in awe that we're bad essentially.
I'm not, but I'm like that in tennis also. You like play at a club, and there's like 8-year-olds who have like perfect form, and they're like, so it's never a power thing,
But you don't get to play against 8-year-old. You don't get, do you? Wait, you not you play your ladder at Acadia, right? Did you ever play that?
Haven't in a long time, but I did do like weekend tournaments from time to time, and I got my ass kicked by a 14-year-old in a truly embarrassing fashion. Not embarrassing because I don't feel shame. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
no
this guy
shame, no
kicked my
shame.
ass. But oh, this is actually a funny story though. It was humbling in the most literal way possible. So first of all, right, you get paired up with a guy. You know when it's like snowboarding actually. But when it's a kid and his bag is like bigger than his body because there's like 12 rackets there, I'm just like, oh fuck. And then like he's got like massive gear. I'm like, Like, does this guy have sponsors? Because I'm fucked.
Oh.
So imagine like this like lanky like 12, 13 year old with a tennis bag
Uh,
that's like twice as wide as his body. Like I don't know, does he like test the humidity to figure out like the which string tightness racket he has that he pulls out of his toolbox, you know? Meanwhile, like I'm just choosing the racket that's like where the grip is like the least dirty because we just normally play outside. Um but and then he was a lefty. He was the first lefty I ever played. And bro, like the ball spinning in the opposite way, I couldn't return a single fucking thing. Like I lost so goddamn bad because I just played you and like my other friends, right? It's like none of you had lost.
yep,
I think I
lefties
lost
are hard, man. It's
6-0.
a whole different game.
I think
A
I
whole
lost
different game.
I lost I lost 6-0, 6-1. And I think the one was him just like feeling sorry for me and like giving me one game. You know,
Awesome.
here's the worst part about it. We're at one of the tennis clubs where you're in the dome thing, and there's only one exit on the one side of like court one, and we were like court five, like across. So pretty much had to come back and do the walk of shame across all the courts to get out of the section of the tennis center. And of course, everyone's like, "Oh, he's already done." Like, it was like far too soon, right? Like far too soon.
And you have to do the walk where you walk. You have to wait for them to finish their thing. Walk another one. Wait. That's
That was
awesome.
incredibly tough for me. Incredibly tough.
Oh God, are we
So it
talking?
was like it was like every single thing that could have gone wrong did.
Oh Jesus.
And but I think he did end up winning the tournament. So like that didn't make me feel any better. But yeah, it was like let's just drag this out in the both the quickest and slowest way possible so that like everyone knew you just got absolutely spanked by like, you know, a teenage boy. It wasn't even. It was like a preteen. Like it wasn't even like
Preteen,
yeah.
preteen. Oh yeah.
Couldn't
Yep.
I barely touched the ball. I barely touched the ball.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I have another junior funny story like that, but I don't know. Oh, what else we want to talk about? How long have we been going for?
Bro, I've not even done half my Italy
Yeah,
story.
I know, I know. I don't know. We can talk about more Italy. We can talk about Burning Man. We can talk about levels. I don't know. I don't know. I'm easy. Um, wow, dude. Good week though. Having fun.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about Italy because it's fresh on my mind. So
Drop it on me, man. Tell me.
let me tell you about the European versus Canadian, like what's considered a good snow day. Dude, I don't know, like you must have heard this, right? Like they love groomers here. Like
Yeah,
they just want
fake snow. That's
World
what.
Cup
Yeah, I think more fake, not fake snow, but like made snow. I think, and more
completely
groomers.
groomers.
Yeah, totally.
Completely groomers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, why do you even look at the weather then? So I skied 3 days out of 4. First 2 days were just like blue sky, no new snow, great visibility, but like the snow is like it's crunchy, right? Because you've got a melted top layer. It's a little bit crusty, and enough guys ride the groomers though that it fluffs up enough like icy chunks that like you can still bite into it with your edges, and but you're just like pointing down, going down like 90 miles an hour or whatever, right? And you're hitting this like you're the World Cup doing slalom. But like I think guys like you and me, we want like those big powder days where you're like, dude, I want this stuff flying over my head when I'm carving. Uh, and that's what happened on night number 3. So the night before my last day, where I skied yesterday. Breakfast yesterday morning, right? We're looking at what the group's doing for the day. Some people don't even go out to ski, so they'll like snowshoe and hike and all that.
Mhm.
Dude, I'm like, guys, this day is amazing. Like it's just puking snow, and uh, nobody went out. Nobody went out. They're like, visibility is not great, and we don't like when like the snow hits our face when we're going down the hill. And I was like sitting there at breakfast. I was like, And then they were worried about like driving because there was like 4 centimeters of snow on the road, which like that's nothing for us, right? And I'm like, I go to them and I'm like, guys, have I missed some sort of risk assessment where like you guys are all doing the smart thing and I did I miss something where I'm just am I being stupid right now? It's possible though because it's like
Oh
maybe
yeah,
there's like a
you know,
culture thing I'm
oh,
missing, right?
this is wrong. There's avalanche season, or there's this risky, or like why are
Right.
you driving a
What you it's
motorcycle?
like,
You're driving a motorcycle in
what
LA?
you don't know, yeah. What you don't know is the road turns to pure ice and you just slide off the cliff. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, that's obvious. And then no, but it was none of those things. They're like, okay, well, have a good day, I guess. And like, couldn't find anyone to go with me. I literally asked everybody. I'm like, fuck it, I'll go. I've never done a solo day before, and I did a solo day. I just took my earbuds in with me
Ooh, I've done it
and had
once.
a big
I've done
interview
it
day.
once. Done it once. Awesome,
So
awesome. Yep.
I drive there. It's the road is like literally fine, right? It's 5 centimeters of snow, and like we all have winter tires. The road is literally fine. The parking lot is dead, dude. I go to the counter. I'm like, one adult day pass, please. And the Italian guy behind the window was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, yeah."
Yeah, you
He was, I'm like, but then I again because I'm like open minded, right? Like it's like,
maybe.
did I not be? And he's like, well, the weather's like really bad up there, and I'm like, no, I think it's fine. And like, dude, it's puking snow. Like where I parked, and you strap on a bit and just slide to the. And even that was nice, you know. I'm like, this is gonna be a great day. And the guy's like, are you sure? So anyway, bro, I think there was like 20 people on the chair, like on the whole hill all day, and it's like four faces. It's like one valley, two mountains, nobody there. The gondola holds 120 people. It's like one of those cable cars. It's technically a funicular where it goes back and forth, right? And there's like one big car that takes you up and it just zigzags, right?
Yeah,
The capacity of that is 120 people, and
just
there
like
was
sometimes. Yep.
maybe 20 people on it max. And like by 4 o'clock, there was 5 people riding the gondola. And I was just lapping this gondola. It was about a 700-meter vertical difference, and I was taking the same car up because I was coming down faster than the gondola would like make its way down. I was so sick.
Oh man.
No, and even the people that were there were riding the groomers, and like 3 meters off the edge of the groomer, which is perfectly good snow when you have that much. It was like 20 to 40 centimeters of powder, fresh lines all day because like no one was even coming off the groomers. Like I had a great day. It was absolutely bonkers. Like I could just see the only tracks that were on the hill were the ones that I put in there from my last run. You know what I mean? It was just so amazing. But bless my friends at like 3 o'clock, they were like, called me. It was like a wellness check. They're like, hey, we're just making sure like you're fine. And I'm like, I'm loving life right now. I probably lapped, just hit that like fucking 20 times. Here's where it goes crazy. I had a crazy ending to this day, man. I tend to get lost easily. I don't know if you know this. I have like my ability to keep directions in my head is abysmal now. I don't know why. I'm not sure that it was ever good, but it's certainly
Interesting.
terrible now.
Interesting. Okay, I
I
didn't know
got
that, but yeah.
super greedy with last chair. I'm gonna go one more run. You already know where this is going.
Well, I
I
think you subtly mentioned it. I don't completely read the message, but okay. Wait. First of
I
all, wait a second. Wait a second. I didn't know you were bad with directions. Okay, do you wait? Do you use GPS all the time? No, don't. Do
yeah.
you? Do you? What the fuck's wrong with you? What? I don't use GPS all the time.
I would not be able to drive in Dusseldorf without GPS. Like the roads are convoluted, the one ways, the tram, not being in the tram when you can be in the tram, like that would all just confuse the living fuck out of me. So,
Okay, well, like
um,
okay, this is just funny. I know you're going to tell your story about getting lost and stuff, and I can think where it's going. But I have other buddies who've been relying on GPS now and just stop thinking when they drive. So, and when they take the train and stuff. But I when I'm stressed and I'm tired, I use GPS. But when I don't, when I like I do motorcycle treks and stuff, and what I've learned is it's better to just look at your route in advance, memorize it, and then turn it off, and then see if you can get there. And I practice that all the time. And then you constantly, occasionally fuck up, but you learn how to be great at directions.
I think I've just lost interest in using my brain power for that particular thing.
So okay, wait. A quick aside: the reason why you need this skill is for big motorcycle trips and flying a
which I
plane.
which I don't do.
So skills I have, and they're awesome.
I probably could have used them for finding the way back to my goddamn car, but so I cut it too close, right? I'm like, I'm gonna squeeze out every last drop of this lift ticket. So I end up going back through the valley, back up the mountain to the side where my car was at. So I got all that. I got all that. In fact, I just missed the last chair that I needed. End up going down to the wrong chair. It's like 429, and like I cut it too close, so like the guy wouldn't let me go up to like take the right path. He's like, dude, we're closed. Like, you need to take the gondola down to town. And I'm like, I'm not living in town. I'm living in the pass with the snowstorm. But I'm in town. I go, so I take it down. I have no choice, right? And bro, okay. Remember the Europeans hate precipitation. The snow hurts their face or whatever. There's like 6 cars in the gondola parking lot, bro. Cab, cab, cab company is not answering. This is small town Italy. Like I'm sure that guy's like sipping on a doppel espresso, like not picking up the phone.
Oh, it's so
I in
funny.
my head, I am like, Chang, you better start fucking cold approaching the cars that are left in the parking lot right now, because in 10 minutes there will be 0 cars in that parking lot. And then
Oh
right in that
God.
exact moment, I had 2 options. It's like this guy in this little Fiat looking thing that looks like it has 3 cylinders and like 80 horsepower. And then there's like a dude with his like daughter in like an RS7, like big Audi with like the quad exhaust pipes. So I'm like, I'm gonna go talk to that guy. And I'm like, hey man, really fucked up here, and like, can I offer you some money to like take me back to my car? Like I took the wrong chair down, blah blah blah. Again, relying on like the kindness of others because I was fucked, like hard fucked. He agrees to it, but it's like, dude, it's puking snow. It's 6 kilometers of switchbacks. Like he's in town. Like this is not on his way at all. Like, it's so awkward for me.
Yep, I get it. Totally
And
get it.
I'm asking him, and he's like yes. But then I'm standing there waiting to just because he's like taking off his ski boots and like loading up his stuff. Like I asked 5 minutes too soon because then I just watched him take his skis off for 5 minutes while I just stood there. Anyway, he was a super nice guy. He's from Czech Republic. We made enough small talk, but like those switchbacks, and then heading up, the Italian police were actually not letting people go up to where my hotel was. He was like, "Oh, do you have all-wheel drive and winter tires? Because if you don't, they were turning cars around." So like, if I had chosen Fiat guy, like I
he
would
chose the
have, I
he
would have
chose
gone
the
home.
all-wheel drive. You got it. Perfect. 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 Love it.
$100,000 Audi guy. Thank God for that luck. Anyway, I was like super thankful for him because it was like not on his way, like at his own risk of personal safety, blah blah. So I get dropped off at my car, which is just mid mountain, right? Like I went down to the bottom. He drove me out to mid mountain. My hotel is like at the pass. Well, it's been a puking snow day, man. My car is stuck as fuck in the parking lot. So I ended up having to like rely on like a group of Polish guys. And again, pure luck, right? Because no one's on the hill at this point. Their car was stuck, and then I backed my car out, got my car stuck, and then they actually pushed me out, and then I managed to like limp the car back to the pass. So
So
the last hour of my epic pow day was like fucking
so
insane. It
literally,
was
this
like
is this is your German friends having some caution about a little bit about the weather. They were kind of right. They were slightly
They,
right.
they were super alarmed. I think in their eyes, I just proved them right, and no amount of good writing would have ever been worth like what I just did. Um,
But
but at no
it's a fun
point did
adventure.
they.
That's a fun adventure. Okay, wait. You know what?
Yeah,
It's about a journey. Things go wrong sometimes, whether you're on treks, and that's the way it is. And it's actually a blast figuring it out and getting through it sometimes, especially when you get through it, right?
I was. Yeah, it's easy to look back now and be like, no problem. Oh, and also like my cell phone was down to like 8%, right?
Oh,
So
I
like
fucking hate
I'm
that.
like I can't even
Oh,
call,
I turning it off. You're like turning it off, and you're like, I'm gonna save the battery for when I need it.
but like I'm trying to call a cab company in the rain, so it's like getting cold when it's like
Uh,
against my ear and the battery's just like plummeting.
so funny.
Um, and I'm just like, dude, cabbie's not gonna pick up. It's like you need to approach the cars now. So I am kind of happy of like, hey, when push comes to shove, I can be resilient because that's like so uncomfortable for me to do. And to get two sets of good Samaritans, I really try not to like make my day's success dependent on the kindness and luck of others, never mind two sets of people.
Okay, wait.
So for
Oh
sure, a ton
god.
of luck involved. For
Oh
sure, a
god.
ton of luck involved.
Oh, man, I can't. It sounds like it's gonna be all traveling and sports today. So I mean, give me 1 second here. I'm gonna let Lyric back in, and wow, wow.
So then I
I'm
go home
laughing
this
my ass
morning.
off. We're gonna cut this maybe while I'm walking out. Give me a sec.
No, no, I'm gonna monologue while you're doing this.
Do it.
So
Do it.
then
Keep
we end
talking.
up. So then the drive down this morning. Today was a blue sky day. Oh no no. So I'm talking to the Germans at dinner, telling them about my whole adventures. They're howling it up. Like they're like, oh, this fucking crazy Canadian. And I'm like, they're like, oh, but today's gonna be like a really good day. And the one guy is like, I hope it stops snowing. And I'm like, why do you hope that it stops snowing? Like we want epic pow. He's like, no, no, no. We want groomers. They just want the snow so that the groomers can groom it. And then once the groomers are done at the end of the day, they want it to stop snowing so that it's groomed for them the next day. I'm like, why do you even care how much snow there is then? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I confirmed this with our friend Perry. The Europeans love the blue sky groomers. So that means skiing in Europe is actually amazing. It's like we're not going after the same girls, right? Like you like the brunettes and I like
Ooh.
blondes. And like, so they're all in on the POW day. And I'm like, and I'm trying to explain to them like why this is the best date. I'm like, guys, if this was my friends, we would all be piling out of the house right now to go ride this stuff. And they just stayed in and played like backgammon all day. I'm like, crazy. So I think if I was a little more prepared with the car, had like snow chains and all that, would have been like a 10 out of 10, perfect day in control. And if I had a sense of direction, that would have helped. Or I should have just cut it short by one run so
I'm
that
if you did the last one, but you know what? I love the ending of your story because you got both sides of it, right? Like you got awesome pow, but
I got
then you
all of it.
also got a little bit of suffering because you were alone and it's hard. You know what? Going mad props to you, Chris. You went alone. It's really hard to go it alone to things, man. Especially when everybody's not. I think it's hard to do. It's great.
Once I confirmed there was like it was worth the risk, I'm like, am I in imminent danger? Because like all of you are just like, fuck no. Like once I ruled that out, and I'm like, no, I forgot that I'm Canadian. Like this is fine. In fact, it would be considered like a mild day for us, right?
Totally.
Aside from the parking situation and all that, but yeah, me too. And I'm just pretty proud of my own resilience because one, going alone, two, I actually wasn't that panicked, even though I knew
Yeah.
that I was about to be in a jam. I think making that split second decision to like look at the parking lot of no cars, saw two people loading their cars, and then like deciding correctly the timing of just like, okay, this window is super short. Like you need to act right now to like get out of this with as little help as or as little work as possible. Like if I waited and just was like awkward, yeah, I probably would have just ended up booking a room in town and like sitting in my ski gear, right? And that would have been fine, but like definitely suboptimal. So I'm like proud of myself that I did the right move, even though like I probably shouldn't have been in that poker hand to begin with. But like I made the right play on the river kind of thing,
No, I think you did great. This is something I've noticed actually from traveling a lot, and working in Omaha. Um, I didn't realize how Canadian we are. You know,
Also,
like I didn't realize that on the averages, Canadians are more outdoorsy, more adventurous, right? And we got a bunch of like inherent skills from our forefathers of other Canadians that like had to like persevere through building this
definitely
country,
time.
right? And even though we're both, second generation immigrants, I think the culture somehow taught us it, right? Like the hunting
Yeah,
and trapping and the beavering and whatever, right? Like I don't know
sure.
why. Like I learned it when I was down in Omaha when I was hanging out with these two Americans, and they didn't have some basic outdoorsy skills slash patience for danger, like patience for things that are going wrong, you know. And of course, Americans can't handle their liquor like we can on the averages, you know. So, and it's just interesting. It's just interesting. It didn't occur to me until I've been in a few of those situations to know that wow, as Canadians, we're lucky. We got a lot of outdoor skills.
Yeah, we definitely have like a resilience, and I think maybe like the entrepreneurial risk maybe shows up in some of our off business activities as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that was my last day, and it was honestly that day that made me rebook. I was like, dude, I'm sold. Like, if I get another day like this where I'm just lapping fresh lines with nobody there. Oh, and then the gondola station is like this massive behemoth, I don't know,
just like
electric
Japan,
motor,
just
big,
like Japan, right? Yeah.
yeah, that one fat cable
If
car,
it's
right?
if it's 100 people, it's crazy. Yeah, yeah.
It was like, what was backing onto that? You should look at my Instagram if while it's still there. Finest dining Italian restaurant. Like I had two glasses of wine with and double espresso. I had carbonara up there, and then like quiet day. They were in a good mood because they weren't just swamped. And then they like gifted me a donut at the end. Like it was just awesome, dude. And it looked like they're playing jazz. It looked like a fine dining Italian restaurant. And then you zoom out and then you just remember you're at the top of a ridge at like 2,000 meters. Like how is it even possible to get food in this place like that where you are? So it's also feeling like super grateful and happy to have found myself in a place like that. It was something I'll remember for quite some time, I think.
Sounds romantic. I like it. Sounds so cool. Wow, man, you're. I don't know. I have so many weird stories to tell, but I like you talking about Italy. Oh, okay, I gotta talk about levels for a second. Even though I know very little about what's going on here, I wanted to clue you into something that's happening there. Um, we know
First of
Levels
all,
is an entrepreneur,
Pete
right?
Levels.
Pieter
Pete
Levels, right?
Levels.
And you told me this the
Yep.
other day, and this is why I wanted to talk about him as well. You were like, "Oh, just do what Levels is doing," and I'm just like, I'm just not good enough. Like it's not the fact that I'm not good enough. I haven't built a big enough brand for me online that would make it easy. So I think he's done an amazing job of slowly building online businesses that grow his brand and his like he started off with what was his first one? I believe it. He was doing that build a business every month thing, right? I think that's how he made Nomad List was one of his firsts. I think. Do you remember that?
Yep. That's his big money maker, I think, still.
That was one of the ones. I think it was maybe on month three he made that, right? He built something, it didn't work. He built something else for a month, it didn't work. Built something else for a month. And his key is he needs to get to MVP really quickly and figure out within a month, finish it within a month. His goal was to do a project every single month and ship it. And that's amazing in itself. Um, but he's got like four different businesses right now that are still running. One's so remote, what's it called? Nomad List, which helps you find places to work as a nomad. This is before COVID. And Remote OK is a job website for nomads, a job listing, kind of like a Indeed. The third one he is that's making a ton of money is his AI company called, I don't know what it's called. It's called like Photos AI or something. And what it does, like one of them
Yeah.
does for real estate or whatever, right? But the latest thing he built with AI is a plane game, and I think it's on fly.peter fly.levels.com or something. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But he built this massive multiplayer plane game, and he built it using AI coding, right? And I think how it works is you all play simultaneously, where you like have this like blocky airplane, but it's intentionally lagged that all your movements are 1 second lagged. I don't know if you can imagine that. So you're playing. You have to take. I think it has real world physics too. You have to take off from like an airport or something, but it's like 1 second jumps, right? So it's like 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, right? But then everybody's playing at the same time, and it just looks rad. But you can tell he's hit virality right now because it looks like there's 5,000 people playing simultaneously. But what's remarkable is first of all, 5,000 people in one server, which is rare as heck. Secondly, building the whole thing using AI. It's crazy how far AI has come to help you code things that you don't know how to code. Like he's using like a Python infrastructure that's really streamlined and it's super lightweight, and he built it all himself. And it's taking off, and now he's selling F-16s for like $200 a pop if you want to fleece inside his game. But floss inside his game. But I think it's just rad what he did, and it's evolving right now. I think like this has been live for a few days, so
Back the bus up. Is the phrase flossing inside the game what the kids are saying?
I have no idea. What do you say when you are, you know, showing off your
I
$200 sticker? I don't know. Like it's just the same thing in Counter Strike. I don't know. You like I don't know what people say. Have you ever even bought an online good, Chris? You don't own a single online good? You've never paid for anything inside of a game on your phone?
might have once, but almost never. Because I don't like games where you. First of all, I don't need a warhorse mount thing that makes me look cool. And then if it only makes me look cool, I don't need it because I can just win like practically by being good at the game.
Okay, so this actually changed. This is different. Sometimes you get buffs because you bought the expensive thing, and sometimes it's just because it's expensive and it looks cool.
Yeah,
This is my whole industry of NFTs, to be honest, of buying things that have no inherent value that just look cool. And I gotta say, I never bought digital goods for for so
20
long, and then I finally broke that seal with buying a weapon in Counter Strike.
But instead of buying something expensive, impressing virtual people, why don't you just buy a fucking Rolex like the rest of us
But wait,
and
wait,
impress people you
why is it
interact with immediately?
why isn't it the same thing? Wait, I'm buying it for myself. It's exactly the same thing.
Oh,
Why is an online good any different than a real world good? If anything, it's better for the world.
tangibility. Tangibility.
What tangibility? Why does tangibility matter?
I don't know if you can like feel it. It's like heavy. And it's like nice and it's like
I,
shiny.
I like things that are shiny. It still could be shiny online. Um, you're right. Physicality is awesome, but I have come to appreciate that the new generations enjoy. They live half their world online. Their online goods are just like real world goods, and they like them just as much. And I didn't realize that until I've worked in this industry and bought my own things, and like build businesses in it. But it's regardless. I don't know. Wrong topic. You should buy your first digital good though. You should at least, and the one that
You
you
like
love.
groomers? I like you like groomers. I like powder.
You'll become an old man if you have that philosophy. Faster too. Do what the kids are
Like,
doing. Do what the kids are doing.
why?
No, no. Okay, I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying one of these days you're going to. Okay, it's just going to happen, Chris. You're gonna. This is going to happen eventually, where you find a digital good you actually love enough to buy. Don't buy it if you don't love it, but try to find one you love.
I mean, if you're trying to educate me on luxury goods, I don't think you have to. But
That's true. I don't own a watch anymore, man. I don't like watches anymore. So yeah.
But no, I've never bought a skin or never paid for a advantage in gaming. So
Wait. So you play
no.
Hearthstone and you don't pay for anything? Is there advantages in Hearthstone?
You can just like collect the cards faster, and actually in their auto battler, you get to select from twice as many heroes. So generally, that should help your win rate because you're usually getting offered a better hero on average. But I just take my two heroes instead of four and slum it out because I'm like still maintain a good MMR even with a bad hero selection.
I mean, this is a weird long conversation about whether or not I used to have a philosophy of like I want to start from ragged and work from nothing and not take any edges. That's how I'm in
Yeah.
sports as well, actually. I don't like I want to learn it on my own. I want to build it from nothing. But I don't know. So people have different opinions. Like you took tennis lessons because you wanted to get better at tennis. You know, you don't have it. You don't have that philosophy there, right? You wanted to get better.
No, that's true.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, you could say I don't play tennis in bare feet, so you're like paying to win, kind of.
Yeah, it's funny. Oh man, I'm
I
actually.
mean, I don't doubt that. I'm not disagreeing with
Oh,
that. But like
I
for an
know.
online game, like
Uh,
I don't know. I've competed in Hearthstone and won, so like I know I'm good. So I don't need to like I'm already there. I'm like super rich in Hearthstone. I have like tons of gold. I don't need anything 'cause I'm a winning player. So like I don't need to like because some people if they lose right they need to constantly like buy gold so they can keep playing.
yeah,
Like,
I
I
like
can I
when
can
games are built fair like that, where you can win by not having to pay, and then you make the people
yeah
who suck pay. Like I think that's a great
yeah
philosophy. That's what I want. I hate the ones where you can outpay the good players. Like that's dumb. You know,
to be honest, what that is just a gambling addiction at that point, and then you're just like the losing players are just feeding like a whale's gambling addiction, which. But now all the people with gambling addictions are actually just gambling now. So like I gotta imagine those games are like losing money because everybody's just moving to sports betting. It's like the same audience, right? They're just addicted to like gambling, opening crates or whatever. Do people still open crates? I don't know.
people still open crates. Some countries have banned them. I think China banned them. You can't have loot boxes
Mm.
in China.
I'm
I
like the
think
total
people.
opposite, man.
What's that? Sorry, I missed it.
Like Hearthstone lets you mass open packs now, and I just like open all. I don't care. Sometimes you want the little explosions because like the
Oh my god.
rares, haha.
Oh my God. One of my friends, okay, he's been buying lottery tickets since we were 18, right? Practically, we used to have like a pack, me and two other buddies, that like we would split the lot, like a lottery if we ever won. And I barely played. Like I played for like a month. I didn't really like it. But he buys his lotto tickets on the like Play Alberta app now that just
Yep,
tells you if you won or not. But
yep.
what? I if I buy a lottery ticket, I buy the lottery ticket. I look up the numbers and I circle them with a pen because it's fun to be like, I got one. Nope.
Oh, bro, you should have hung out. You should have hung out with me right before I moved to Germany, man. I got into a phase of advantage playing slots.
I
Were you
know you
you were
did,
never a
dude.
part?
I did. Wait, dude. I hung out with you that one day. You don't remember,
Oh, dude, I was going fucking 3 times a week, so I don't remember
dude?
going with you.
Okay, I remember your
But
mode
we
of
won
going.
it, right?
Yes, we did.
You won, yeah, yeah,
Okay, well, let me tell you your story because I know what you went
yeah.
through.
Tell my story.
Okay,
No,
so
I'm not
Fred.
waiting for the payout.
Oh
I
God.
get my dopamine other ways. I don't need to watch shiny, roly things go poof. That's like super basic. Jesus.
Oh
Like, are we
man.
past that?
Wow. I mean, okay.
Again, you don't have to tell me how to hit my neurotransmitters. I can do that just fine. It doesn't come from a fucking slot machine. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, it's so funny. Oh God, I don't know if I can tell your story. You were addicted to
I'm
advantage
not
slot
addicted to
playing.
anything.
Not addicted, but there was a 3 month period where you were so stoked about that you'd figure out how to beat the slot machine. And this sounds like a crazy person. This is what people say all the time in like YouTube videos and in like, oh, I figured out the hack. Oh my God, I figured out the hack. And I know how to make a million. I know how to win. You didn't
I
say,
keep doubling the bet. I can't lose.
but okay, you were on this rant, you were on this, and then I was just like, okay, I trust you as a person. So I was like, I have to just join Chris on his slot adventure one day, right? So I purposely like was like, I'm going to open myself up to seeing what Chris is doing, and I just joined you, and I was like, I'm coming too. I don't care. I'm following you around. So I think we
I
were
started
out.
to get reminded of this now.
I
Yeah.
remember we went out for a drink or shisha or something, and then you were stoked about it. Like you were gonna like say, I'm coming, you know. So I joined you, and I just followed you around, and I learned that you're totally right. That slot machine was a winning machine. And you just have to read the numbers correctly, and you can realize that that machine will just win. You just have to put $500 into it. You just keep putting money into it, it'll pay you back more.
Which people are afraid. See, people are afraid to bankroll it properly to make the right bet because like people there are addicts, so they go in there with like $100, lose it. It's like no, I walk in there with 2 grand, and I'm like, I'm not leaving until I win, which I will.
That was really amusing. And oh god, it's just funny. That was awesome. That was awesome to learn how to beat slots with you that day. That was great. That was great.
I'm glad. I'm
I
glad. Yeah,
I
I was in
I
a phase
enjoyed it.
there.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because I understood it, and I came in being a barely believer, and I came up and like, yeah, you can beat slots if you just plan this way you're doing it. Of course you can. Oh God,
I
so
mean, it
funny.
helped that I lived near 2 casinos, right? And like, and if the slots were in a bad game state, I have enough discipline to just leave and go home. Like, how they get you is like, oh, but I drove all the way down. Like, I wasted my time. It's like, no, I walked across the street. The slots looked bad. I went home, played Hearthstone. You just do a lap at the casino 3, 4 times a week, and when it's good, and you just have a fistful of money. So yeah, it was fun. I'm sad I discovered that so late. Like I lived across from 2 casinos for like 11 years, and I didn't figure that out till like year 10.8. Like it was really bad.
Oh, it's so funny. I mean, that's okay. That's so amusing, man. God, that's so funny. You know, I don't
I'm
think
glad
I'm
I
I don't think I'm a crazy gambler. I think I'm pretty nitty. I think I only play things that I can win. To be honest, I don't typically go into games I lose.
yeah. But what's the like what does it need to move the needle now, bro, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
like making $20 just isn't hitting the
Okay,
same.
so this is the flaw of getting really rich really too quickly. In some ways, in my head you have to play with 5% of your net worth to even feel it anymore, and
5% net worth.
I
Okay.
think so at least because if you are you don't feel that dopamine. 1% a little, yeah, sure, but you won't feel the dopamine unless you actually take risk, right? So I think you can take risk with your money. You can take risk with your time. Time's a better one actually. Time's more enjoyable, just as enjoyable as money.
I'm with you on the 5%. I was just turning that to numbers in my head. I'm like, what would it take to make me feel like butterflies? It's like, if I get this wrong 20 times, I'm broke.
Yep. I mean, I don't know if I recommend it, but you can do it. Um,
Yeah.
you got
So
to do
even
it
the slot
sometimes.
play. Even the slot play, right? Like buying in for like 2 grand. Honestly, it's fun winning. It's funner winning when you're next to me and we're just dummying beers
Oh
because
yeah,
we're having a winning night for like a few $100. Like, I mean, winning is awesome because doing that while losing would suck. The most joy is like I now have given you a story where
oh yeah,
like,
it's
hey,
awesome.
we advantage played slots together and fucking hit it as Chang said they would. And it
Yes,
was, yeah, that's fun.
yes, yep. It happened. I vouch for it.
And now that I'm
God.
not there, they should still be there for the taking. In fact, it's like one less guy who knows
I,
about it.
I
Like,
mean,
you know,
this is the problem. I mean, I think, I think this is the problem with gambling, though. The problem is
what's the problem with
sometimes
gambling?
the problem with gambling is that even though there's winning opportunities, liquor or bad willpower may like maybe you're having such a good time with me, and then like Dana White walks in, and then he's like, "Hey, let's go to the high roller, Chris," because we just met him because we were playing advantage slots, and then we go to the high roller, and now we're trashed, and now we lose $100,000 somehow. I don't know. I don't know if that's even possible, but I'm just saying that maybe that's the risk. The risk is there's like black swan events you just don't see coming. And if you gamble too much, you can get black swan. I don't really know. Like he has that story about losing $3 million, right? You remember that story?
Yeah, but he has a billion, so like that's just his version of us gambling a couple $100 in a night. So it's like it's not moving the needle for him.
I agree. I totally agree. But it's
I
funny.
think we have enough safeguards that I don't think I can get hit by a black swan event. Unless like I get like accidentally addicted to heroin maybe, but like no single thing I think can like fuck me that bad. Maybe like paralysis or like
There's things. There's
brain
things.
damage.
I mean, you just gotta persevere through them, man. I think it's okay. There's always hardships. I mean, that's why I like your snow adventure in Italy, man. I purposely try to go on adventures like that. Like I try to get myself into adventures like that because they're enjoyable. They're enjoyable to get into. Okay, this is why. Okay, I want to tell that Vietnam story because we were talking about it last pod a little bit. Me and our friend who I went with on that motorcycle trip had a completely different mindset about how to do it. And I didn't realize that until we were literally there in Vietnam. So, do you remember the Top Gear episode I'm talking about?
Yeah. Is
Okay, so the Top Gear episode is where
that the one where they build the bridge across the river in
maybe.
Vietnam?
Yeah. So the Top Gear episode is Jeremy Clarkson, the other two guys are they make a challenge. They have 4 days to transverse all of Vietnam. Okay, but they have to buy a motorcycle for under £1,000 and do it right. And that was the whole episode. And it was, and I don't know if you know any videos with Top Gear, but Top Gear is kind of fake. It's TV. But I don't know why at the time when I watched that episode, I don't think I wanted to do that. That sounded like fun. And I never literally, I just didn't map it out. I just was like, I'm just going to go in with the same mindset. I'm going to go buy a motorcycle in Saigon for $1,000 and try to go to the other side. But I wasn't going to the other side. I was going to go to Da Nang halfway through. Okay. But my other buddy had the same mindset, but really different. He wasn't going to buy one. He was going to rent one and he was going to go to the whole country, but he was really going to do it. I wasn't. I was just going to go for the journey and see what happens, right? But I set myself up for an impossible challenge, and so did the Top Gear episode. It's not possible. It's not possible to do it in 4 days with $1,000 motorcycle. It's just not possible.
Sure, I
Okay,
believe you.
but it's fun to try. So the challenge for me was, well, first of all, how do you get $1,000 in cash? How do you buy a motorcycle in Vietnam? So the way I approached it was, um, I got to Saigon. I found a gold shop that changes Canadian dollars to Vietnamese dollars, at a really great rate, which is crazy money laundering. That's another hack I'll tell later. But um, I met this dad of this convenience store, and I asked him for help to see if he can help me buy a motorcycle. And then he's just like, "Well, yeah, maybe. Maybe my son can help you out." And he spoke way better English. And we went on Saigon Craigslist, the version of Craigslist in Vietnamese, and then we just started looking at motorcycles together, right? And then we found one, um, a couple, and he made the call for me, and we scootered over there. I rented a scooter for 2 days, which was like a 40-minute drive, and then I bought it off this 19-year-old kid, and it was like a $607 Honda. It's like a kind of like a Honda 50, I think. Is that what it's called? I'll have to show a picture. Um, but I don't know if you know what a $600 motorcycle is in Vietnam. It's a piece of shit. It barely has 100 horsepower, right? Where my buddy rented a 250cc dirt bike that's perfectly tuned and set up by a travel agency that does this for people, right? And I've got this ragged scooter motorcycle that has that looks it's all chrome and it's 60 years old and vintage and looks dope. So that there was a big problem there. He's twice as fast as me, going the speed of semi trucks on the highways, where I'm going with the Vietnamese people at their scooter speed, having a blast. But that made us divide over the first 5 days. And it was because he was too fast and I was too slow, and my motorcycle broke down like 5 times, and it was awesome. And I think what I learned from that was that I had a blast of a trip, and it was because I took on something that was just not it was hard. It was not supposed to be done. And what was cool was that there was a day where we got into a kind of a fight where I was like, dude, you guys gotta go. I'm gonna stay at this beach resort, and I'm tired of riding, and I'll meet you in Da Nang. And we ditched each other because he was, and it was great. So I chilled out on this beach resort called Coco Beach Camp. Um, and I barely made it a fifth of the way to Da Nang, by the way. So I'm like, I've gone nowhere, like, I don't know if you know Vietnam very well, but this is maybe, okay, oh man, I've done 5 days of riding, and maybe I've gone 700 kilometers. So like you can drive to Coco Beach Camp with in like 8 hours, right? The roads aren't that great, but it's not that bad, right? And wow, it was I found this beautiful beach resort, and I realized that was better than my motorcycle trip. So I just stayed there, and then I met the
Yep.
owner there, and he helped me book train cargo passage with my motorcycle to Da Nang, so I could beat Carson to Da Nang, and that's what I did, and it was dope. So I literally shipped my motorcycle as train cargo with me in the passenger train. It was a little like cardboarded up, and they took the fuel out of it because they do all that stuff. And I arrived in Da Nang on an old freight rail kind of car that took maybe an 8 hour journey, and it was dope. And by the time we got there, um, our buddy was just ragged from riding for 2 weeks to get there. Right? It took, I think it took two 17 days. Yeah, man, that was such a fun trip. I think I don't know. I gotta say it's fun to go for the journey, I guess, and just different ways to do it. But I had a blast. I think I know you sold your bike. Would you ever get back into it? Would you ever buy one in Germany?
They didn't. When I transferred my license over here, they recognized everything but my motorcycle license. I think the regulations are a little more complex here, or not complex, but the hurdles are higher. So they let me drive here, which is probably the right move, but they said you can't operate a motorcycle here without redoing the German curriculum, whatever that might be.
Oh, it might be different
So,
there.
which I'm fine with. Lots of people ride here though, in like all weather as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept all my gear. I mean, I sold my bike because I just wasn't using it. Also, I would say like riding in Calgary, it's like dangerous because I think Canada drivers are shitty, and
Yep.
I reconfirmed that when I was driving around the city over the holidays when I visited. Fuck, it's just telling someone the German drivers here are probably no joke 3 times better. Non exaggeration, they're 3 times better.
I mean,
Like I don't see dangerous maneuvers here, and I just drove like 16 hours on like, and I'm going fast. Like my car's maxed, right? Like I'm like
I think
yeah, and so it's like personal danger to ride a motorcycle in Calgary. I think so.
I think you're totally right. Calgary is not the spot to ride, especially as a commuter. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
no, I don't
Commuting
recommend it.
is the worst.
I think going on
So
trips
yeah,
outside of Calgary is the route, to be honest. Like doing
yeah,
purposeful trips, right? But
yeah.
I don't know. Vancouver was different, man. Vancouver was way better for driving, actually. There's way more confusion there, so people take their driving more seriously. Yeah, Vancouver was safer than Calgary for motorcycling. It was good. But
Like an Asian chick in a Ferrari hits you with the end sticker.
yeah, I mean those exist too. but
Oops.
she's got to dodge the e-bikes and this, and the bicyclers and the skateboarders, and so I'm not her
I think
only
Vancouver for
obstacle.
sure. I think Vancouver for sure has more of a controlled aggression, so in that way, it's more similar to Europe. One thing the Italians do is they ride your ass, and I keep thinking they want to pass you, but they don't. They just like being that close, even if the rest of the highway's empty.
What does that say? What? What?
Yeah, he's,
Ah! Are
he's
they
like tailing me
drafting
like an
behind you?
unsafe
What's
distance.
going on? Oh my God.
Like, I was driving through the Alps today. It was totally empty. It was awesome driving, by the way.
Yeah, I saw what
And
you posted.
this guy, there's this guy like right up against me, and I thought, okay, like I'm a tourist. I got my like, German plates. Like, okay, I just like signal to like give him a bit so he can pass easier, right? Guy just doesn't pass. He's like, no, 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 I'm cool where I am. And he just basically like rode my back bumper for like a good fucking 30 kilometers. So you just gotta get used to the style. Yeah. Yeah, but Vancouver, I think they know what they're doing. When we still had Cardigos there, um,
Yeah.
and one time I was like renting a Cardigo in Vancouver, and like literally like the light turned green to like turn left, and like I mean Cardigos are not fast. This guy was like on the horn, and I'm like, no, dude, I saw the light. Like this car is going as fast as it can make it through this intersection, and the guy was just already like on the horn. So that's my best memory of Vancouver driving is the cabbies. They get you there fast. Like Calgary cabbies are like, I don't know. They like brake for yellows, and like Vancouver cabbies hit the gas. You know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They do.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Hey, what?
So are you and
Yeah.
well, you already mentioned my name. So are you and Carson still friends from that trip, or like
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I think
how would
no.
he tell the story?
I want to know. I want to know too, because I
You ever
don't.
asked him?
We never. This is funny. Sometimes you like retell a story like many years later to see how you remember it. I don't know Carson's opinion on how that went to him, but I mean, I saw him in Da Nang, and it wasn't like I don't think we were ever angry at each other. But I think it's funny. People travel differently, man, and um, I'm a weird kind of traveler, man. I gotta say, like I think
Yeah,
I. Yeah.
I wouldn't travel with you for sure.
Ouch. Ouch. I mean, I think what people should know is I'm awesome to travel with, but there'll be one day where it sucks. One day where you're just like, ah.
This guy's not that far. This guy's not that far.
But I think I'm fun to travel with because I create adventure. I create the chaos somehow.
I don't disagree with you. I think there's probably like disagreement on whether or not there's symmetric upside, or if people are take if people think you're taking on way too much downside risk for the so-called upside.
I
I'm
think I
not
think
saying who's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the perception. And I'm also not here to give you any lessons.
no,
Like,
don't okay. You know what my solution is actually? I've solved it actually already. Anybody I travel with, I tell them if we go for like 2 weeks or a month or a week even, I tell them, hey, there's gonna be a day or two where I'm just gonna not be around. So just I'm gonna ditch you for a day or two or 5 days or a week, and in that period, just expect it to occur. And that's the way I get out I get out my my fun, so that I don't have to. They don't have to come. And the key is just I let them know that in advance, sort of. But people are surprised. Some
as
people
long as
travel
we're
like a
obligated
group,
to like,
right?
as long as we're not obligated to bail you out of jail, that's
No,
all.
that's all. I
Oh, that
mean,
was Dylan on his fun day. Fuck him. He's fucked. He fucked himself.
this is the guy who went, who ditched his whole ski crew to go skiing on the craziest day. Yeah, I mean, I think you're like me too, buddy. You're like me. You're
Ditch,
similar to me in more ways than you
ditch
think.
is a strong word. I didn't ditch him. The invite was there, and I was like, "Am I crazy?
Uh, yeah, I mean,
How
I
did
don't.
you ask if I was crazy?" I
I
just asked, "Am I missing something?" Because I don't like. What did I miss here? So it was an honest question.
Ditch is the wrong word. Ditch is the wrong word. A
They
planned
ditched me.
misadventure. They ditched you.
Yeah,
Ooh,
they ditched
spicy
me. They're like, we're
take.
staying in. I mean, you're on a ski trip. The default is to ski, right?
I would have came with you, man. You know I would have been there.
Hey, if you're on a buddy cross-country motorcycle trip, isn't the default to go on a cross-country motorcycle trip?
Oh God. So literally
That's how it was told.
planning for Alaska, right? I literally told my friends already. I was like, hey, some days I'm just gonna go in a different direction, and I'll see you at the next checkpoint. You know, like we've already had this talk. Because I know sometimes I just want to go backwards for some reason. I don't know why. I feel something over there. There's a bird telling me to go that way. I can't explain this to you. I can't explain to you why that bird told me to go that way. You know, if I try to,
You're
it's
not
like you
wrong.
talking about slots. It doesn't work. You know,
Everything I described today had logic. Like I went downhill too far because of gravity, and they don't let me go uphill again because chair down. You're like, I sometimes don't get off the chair, and I like just to ride it down again. You're a nut.
it's the name of the episode is Nut Bar for sure.
Sometimes I like to stay on the chair.
Oh
I'm like,
God.
I don't think I want to ski with this motherfucker. Sometimes he doesn't get off the goddamn chair.
Yep, totally.
There's a tacit agreement that we get off the chair together.
Uh I miss our
Um,
days of playing follow the leader at skiing, okay? That's
yeah, dude. No one does that here, man. They're just riding groomers like they're in like the Vienna World Cup. You know what I mean? And I'm
uh
like, you are missing out on 90% of the hill. But hey, that's what they like because yeah, one thing I noticed because they're definitely faster than me on the Bluebird days,
oh yeah.
but like
Oh yeah.
when it came down to carving the black runs, like I was beating them down the hill because like I think we're like more technical people. Like we can hit glades, trees, single track, right? Like they just
We
know how to
we haven't
stay.
trained on the groomers, right? We haven't trained on the races, you know? That's not
If
what
you
we're
want
doing.
speed tuned skis that can ride ice, like you're gonna lose, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. But I miss those days too, man. I think, and then also like no hot tub. I like my body misses the hot
Ooh,
tub.
that's a deal breaker for me for ski trips most of the time. So, hey, anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to go into?
Lots, but I feel pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, let's wrap it up there, buddy. Okay, I'm gonna stop this recording and make sure it works.